The revelations of devout and learned who rose before us and as prophets burned are all but stories which awoke from sleep they told their comrades and to sleep returned. I sent my soul through the invisible, some letter of that afterlife to spell, and by my soul returned to me, and answered, I myself am heaven and hell. Heaven but the vision of fulfilled desire, and hell the shadow from a soul on fire, cast on the darkness into which ourselves, so late emerged from, shall so soon expire. We are no other than a moving row of magic shadow shapes that come and go round with the sun illumined lantern held in midnight by the master of the show. But helpless pieces of the game he plays upon this checker board of nights and days, hither and thither moves and checks and slays, and one by one back in the closet lays. The ball no question makes of eyes and nose, but here or there as strikes the player goes, and he that tossed you down into the field, he knows about it all, he knows. The moving finger writes and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. And that inverted bowl they call the sky, whereunder crawling cooped we live and die, lift not your hands to it for help, for it as impotently moves as you or I. With earth's first clay they did the last man knead, and thereof the last harvest sowed the seed, and the first morning of creation wrote what the last dawn of reckoning shall read. Yesterday this day's madness did prepare tomorrow's silence, triumph, or despair. Drink, for you know not whence you came nor why. Drink, for you know not why you go, nor where. I tell you this, when started from the goal over the flaming shoulders of the foal of heaven, Pawin and Mushtari they flung in my predestined plot of dust and soul. The vine had struck a fibre, which about if clings my being led the dervish flout, of my base metal may be filed a key, that shall unlock the door he howls without. And this I know, whether the one true light kindle to love, or wrath consume me quite, one flash of it within the tavern caught, better than in the temple lost outright. What, out of senseless nothing to provoke a conscious something to resent the yoke of unpermitted pleasure under pain of everlasting penalties if broke? What, from his helpless creature be repaid pure gold for what he lent him dross allayed, sue for a debt he never did contract and cannot answer? Oh, the sorry trade! O thou who didst with pitfall and with gin beset the road I was to wander in, thou wilt not with predestined evil round enmesh, and then impute my fall to sin. O thou who man of baser earth didst make, and even with paradise devised the snake, for all the sin wherewith the face of man is blackened, man's forgiveness give and take. As under cover of departing day slunk hunger-stricken Ramadan away, once more within the potter's house alone I stood, surrounded by the shapes of clay. shapes of all sorts and sizes, great and small, that stood along the floor and by the wall, and some loquacious vessels were, and some listened perhaps, but never talked at all. Said one among them, surely not in vain my substance of the common earth was ta'en, and to this figure moulded to be broke or trampled back to shapeless earth again. Then said a second, never a peevish boy would break the bowl from which he drank in joy, and he that with his hand the vessel made will surely not in after wrath destroy. After a momentary silence spake some vessel of a more ungainly make. They sneer at me for leaning all awry. What? Did the hand then of the potter shake? Whereat some one of the loquacious lot, I think a Sufi pipkin waxing hot, all this of pot and potter. Tell me then who is the potter, pray, and who the pot?